What is up, people? It is Dave and Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. And for this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from Japanese metallic hardcore outfit Kruelty. The band's new album, Untopia, will be released on March 17th via Profound Lore Records. Formed in Tokyo in the summer of 2017, Kruelty has emerged as the most notable artist to find that sweet spot where heavy beatdown hardcore and 90s American Scandinavian death doom metal meet. 2020 saw the release of Kruelty's debut album, A Dying Truth, and revealed itself as one of the heaviest albums that year. With their second LP, Untopia, the band will release an album even more massive in scope and ultimately heavier than their debut. The bulldozing 7-song record was produced by Taylor Young at the Pit Studios, to his work with Nails, Xibalba, all that. So, Kruelty, I've kind of been psyched to hear this.
Dave's been psyched to listen to a Japanese band. Wait 1 second. Yes, that's right. There's a pig flying outside my window.
Japanese hardcore band. Don't forget that, Duncan.
I could throw 100 Japanese hardcore bands at you, and I get the feeling that your eyes would roll a lot.
Not at all. Not
at
all.
You're a fussy fucker. Like, you really are.
No. When you recommend Japanese bands to me, Duncan, there's a reason I roll my eyes. Not at this, though. Not at this, Duncan.
I could have recommended this band to you.
I'm pretty sure I recommended
it. You're acting like Kruelty weren't all over my radar in 2020.
Duncan.
Kruelty were not on my radar in 2020. Let's stress that. They were not on my radar in 2020. They're on my radar now, but
they weren't on my radar back then either. But the first single that I heard from this had me in. I was so sold on this. So much so that when I heard that, I did go back and I listened to the 2020 album, A Dying Truth, because I'd never heard of the band before. And it kind of gave me an idea of where they'd kind of came from before hearing this new one. That album was kind of, as you'd expect for a band on their debut. It's a little bit rough around the edges. You could hear they were trying to find the balance between the styles, find the formula that works. And it's a really good album, like really filthy production on it, but not like Untopia, which is I'm assuming Untopia is like the opposite of Utopia.
Yeah,
do you think? Yeah,
Untopia is not a word.
No, I didn't think so.
But they've literally just made that up.
Right.
But that being said, I like it. They've also spelled Kruelty with a K, which if we're just picking it apart, we could just start. Let's not do that, because they can speak English and Japanese, and we can barely speak English. So
yes, that is true.
They're winning right now.
Yeah, true. And Untopia is represented well by the music on this album.
Oh, dude, the production on this is like getting punched in the dick for like fucking 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It is the most snarly, kicky, punchy thing I've heard. Like, see, the first time I heard the snare drum, I was like, oh, I can see why Dave picked this. Fuck's sake.
Yes, indeed. I think I'd say that when I listened to that first album, there's maybe areas of it that I thought maybe they let linger on a little bit. Maybe the transitions weren't quite as slick as some of the maybe other bands from this kind of style, but I didn't find that the case with Untopia. This is a very direct album. This is a blunt force trauma type album. No frills.
No music box interludes.
No. Not at all. But you can also hear that they have moved forward from A Dying Truth. I love Dying Truth started like this as well, but I love the way the albums start. That they have a kind of intro, but it's attached to the first song. So, although the first track on this album and the last album is the longest on the album, it's primarily because of this intro they have attached to it, which is kind of eerie, kind of weird noises. There's a bit of chanting and stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But when it kicks in from that kind of like soft kind of intro, it literally just hits you like a...
Kick's the right word.
Yes. Yeah,
it really is.
It's like a steel baseball bat to the face when that.
It's like Gerard Butler kicking you in the chest and saying, "This is Sparta."
Yeah,
I mean, it's fucking unreal, man.
Yeah, I'd heard it's funny because I'd heard the first two singles they'd released from the album, but I'd forgotten how fucking crushing that production is. Like, and when it kicked in, I was just like, oh my god! I was instantly reminded of how fucking awesome the production is, and it is a dense son of a bitch. It is really very very corrosive. It's got a real kind of bite and crunch to it. But it's just like it's straight to the point. This isn't like this isn't a I'm going to take you on a journey type album. That's not what we're getting
We're
here.
not using the journey word in this?
Not on this
Fuck
review.
hell. Wait 1 second. Up is down, left is right. What?
There's no like extreme dynamics or massive contrast of light and shade. It's like this is all shade. This is 36 minutes of filthy shade. This is 50 Shades of fuck you, Duncan. This is
50 Shades of fuck you.
exactly. If you're looking for an album that just is going to kick your ass for over half an hour, then this is it.
Yeah.
It's like it's really cool, as you'd expect with that kind of mix of hardcore and death metal. Really cool mix of tempos and rhythms. So each track, they shift in between these kind of like really sluggish grooves. Then you've got moments of more kind of up-tempo hardcore, and then you've got this kind of like grimy, almost kind of Xibalba type kind of death metal that you just constantly got this kind of disgusted face on your look when you're listening to the album. And and the thing is, I'm listening to it and I'm loving it, and I'm like, it's not revolutionary, it's not really pushing any boundaries, but I get the feeling that's not what this band are all about. They just want to hit you with something so hard that it's just going to get you absolutely hyped.
Also, like, there's an argument that you can make that some bands, like, I know sometimes we're like, it's nothing that we've not heard before, right? And that can be used as a criticism, but there's also a way to use that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Like, if a band like purely has mastered that craft and that sound, and that intensity, and especially if it's of an era, if they've captured the vibe of that era in their sound, that to me is just as powerful as like inventing a new genre of fucking twisty, bendy, downy, tuny, bouncy riff. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, because ultimately the passion's behind it, and they're clearly a very passionate band. That passion is anger.
Yes. And it's made. Yeah. This is made for a live show. When I listen, it's like this is something that will just transfer to the live show perfectly, and it will absolutely have the place jumping. This is, there's a pit of bodies flying everywhere right now when I'm listening to this album, and every track is just overflowing with that intensity. That you can just feel it in the riffs. It's just, this is going to incite madness at live shows. It's very groove laden for the most part, very heavy with breakdowns throughout. Some really nice kind of slick kind of passages and transitions into blast beats, or even the opposite way into something more kind of death doom like as well. So it keeps you on your toes in that respect. And although there's no like real kind of like light or breathable moments, I liked what they did with the guitar solos on this. The solos are heavily soaked in reverb, so when they come in, like on tracks like Burn the System, it's almost like their form of ambience or atmosphere. It brings the intensity down for just enough time for you to kind of reset before the next kind of wave of riffs. So I thought that was a clever move, just to give a bit more contrast. They also place, I think it's Maze of Suffering, kind of near the middle of the album, and it has a slower pace kind of overall. It has that kind of doom-laden kind of build-up, and again, it kind of gives you that moment where they're just taking their foot just off the gas just a little bit, and it creates a nice kind of segment in the middle of the album. It's also a very satisfying album. They very rarely leave you hanging, with something really underwhelming at the end. There's always an interesting twist to finish off a track, whether it's a drop in tempo, or would they drop in tempo and change or keep the same riff, or a heavy breakdown, or shift into another style. But it always ends with that like fuck yes kind of moment right at the end, before they move on to the next track. I love the vocal production on this is absolutely spot on.
Oh man.
Very kind of 90s, almost 90s death metal they've got for that style. Drenched in reverb again, and it's got a lot of character.
Sounds like he's been like gargling with razors or sulfuric acid. One of the two. It is so, like, at times, like, the rasp is so fucking dry that, you know, like, you'd be scared of anyone with any sort of open flame around it because it might fucking, like, start a forest fire. It's like, at times he hits certain screens and I could feel my eyes starting to go like that. It's fucking brutal.
Yeah. But I like the fact that they've kind of leveled up right across the board in terms of the production. I think Taylor Young's been a perfect choice for this. I think his style of production really complements the Kruelty sound. And like you mentioned it, but the drum sounds on this are just fucking awesome. Yeah, so good. I love the drum sounds. The snare drum is particularly good. Yeah, there's no real like expansive. I'm going to say it, but the expansive journey here, it does exactly what it says on the tin. But as you said, I kind of dig that. It's not an album that I imagine will like jump to the top of your end of your list, but it's super fun, and it's an album I'll jam when I'm in the mood for something that's just like an instant like mood booster. You know what I mean? It's just you put it on, you're just like, yes, I'm ready to go. But that aside, I think they have upped their game since 2020 as well. I think the songwriting is sharper. I think the switch ups are more fluid, and it feels generally more rewarding right across the board. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. What do you think? What do you make of it?
Well, if they're looking for a tour,
here we go.
They
Duncan's
should
tours.
tour with Eyes. I think them and Eyes on a fucking tour would be apps. And also, if they're looking for like their next album production, this is almost a Jakob Bredel production, by the way. It's like it's on that cusp of you can just feel that someone understands the sound, and it's like, yeah, these guys need to sound as live as possible. This is fucking great. Like this is the sort of hardcore I like. Because it is of an era and it is of a style, but it's all about that. It's all about the aggression. It's all about the heart. It's all about like it is an upfront cunt of an album. Like I mean, you know what I mean? That's what I love about it. It has no airs or graces. It knows exactly what it needs to do. The songs never really throw like this massive curveball at you. Because it doesn't need to.
No.
They naturally know when to break down a section. They naturally know when to transition a section. And they naturally know how to crush the ending of every single song.
Yeah.
And it works really, really well. It's across the board an incredibly well-crafted album. A well-crafted album because, like you see, there's nothing remarkable here.
Yeah.
But in a lot of respects, that's harder because when you don't have goofy gadgets and flashing lights and all the rest, like you really start to pay attention to what a band's doing, and they do it really, really well. Like the across the board, the riffs are varied enough. There's no like stock hardcore riff here or stock breakdown.
Yeah,
it's across the board, very, very well put together. And Maze of Suffering is the one where you get like a slightly grindier sound from them, a kind of something that's like slows the pace down, but it's still heavy as balls.
Oh yeah,
and the two tracks that come after it like just pick up the pace again. It's almost like they've just put their shopping down, so a wee heavy breather, and then lift things back up to the end. It's so fucking intense, man. And I think across the board, there are a few things that aid it. I think the guitar tone the production primarily aids it, but the guitar tone's great. The drummer is a fucking beast. I love that aspect about it. It's just so like nasty, and it's just all the way there. And once again, he's fucking around or anything like that. He's just he's doing what he needs to do. And then vocally, the vocals here this guy's made to be a hardcore vocalist. But like you see, it has that rasp, that tinge of the 90s death about it, which is kind of fucking amazing. And it just gives it an extra something on top, just an extra level of violence, as if they needed it. It's there. And it's a quick listen for almost 40 minutes. I mean, this is about 37 minutes. This fucking flies in. Only 7 tracks. It disappears really, really, really fast. And like you said, it's one of those ones that Like, fuck a cup of coffee in the morning. Like, if you want to wake up, like, Untopia this bitch. You know what I mean? It's like that. Like, it's that way. You feel energized at the end of it, even if, like, I was listening to it while sitting computing, and at the end of it, I kind of felt like I wanted to go and fucking like knock down a wall or something. It's so bizarre. I love Japan, right? I've said this many times.
Yeah.
I love Japan because there's a part of me that thinks when they decide they want to do something authentic to an era or something, they capture it, and they're really, really, really good at capturing it. As scholars of musical theory and musical style, Japan as a country is just different levels to everyone else. Yes, sometimes that gets carried away, and you get everything in the kitchen sink metal, right? But you have these little pockets of bands that come out with a particular sound or style. And today we've been remarking over that, and this will date this, but we've been remarking over the news that the new Church of Misery album's done, right?
Yeah.
And Church of Misery sound exactly like what they should sound for the genre they're playing. And Kruelty sound exactly like the fucking opening statement of what they want to sound like is all the way fucking through this. From start to finish. So, like, mission accomplished, you know what I mean? Objective achieved. And they just need to take it out on the road. I think these guys would be utterly fucking savage in a club.
Well, Duncan.
Oh, this is where Dave lets me know.
Just fill you in here. The 25th of April,
Oh.
Kruelty will be playing the Flying Duck in Glasgow.
The Flying Duck is under a restaurant.
Right.
Is a very, very, very strange little venue, and that building might not be there by the time they're finished. Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, they're coming to the UK in April. So
we're going to be there then.
yeah, Flying Duck. I have no idea what it's like, but sounds good to me.
Yep. It's not a duck, nor is it flying. It's actually underground. And it's a restaurant. So I'm looking for. Hey man, I'm in like Flynn. Like you said, this is a band that are begging you to see this live. Like everything, every song, every second of this album is you need to see this live.
Yeah. Okay, so scores for the new album from Kruelty. Yeah, it's does what it says in the tin. It's meaty, it's punishing, it's produced perfectly for the genre, and it's got a lot of kind of old school character about it as well that I can appreciate. Yeah, this is an easy 4 out of 5 for me. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. How about yourself?
I'm joining you right there. This is a 4 out of 5. This is a brilliant. This. I see this a lot, but I mean, I can't imagine. If you're into hardcore, I just can't imagine why you would not enjoy Kruelty. It's fucking great.
Yeah, agreed. So Untopia is out on March 17th on Profound Lore Records. Links below to the Bandcamp, check it out. If you like the sound of it, or even if you don't, leave some comments below, let us know what you think. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye everyone.